it's a passage that deals with pottering. It's a passage which describes God as a potter and human beings as the clay. Beginning in verse 1 and 2, the prophet Jeremiah tells us that a word from the Lord came to him. Not a word from the governor, not a word from the White House, not a word from City Hall, he said, but a word from the Lord. Somebody shout, a word from the Lord. And every now and then we need to hear from God. Can I get a witness here? I said every now and then we need a word from the Lord. This is an age that's crying for a word from the Lord. We are hearing what the news men and women are saying. We are witnessing the prognosticators of doom and what they have to say about their predictions concerning the future. But when all is said and done, I want to hear from the Lord. Can I get a witness up in here? Touch your neighbor and tell him, I want to hear from the Lord. So the word from the Lord came to him. When the word comes to him, he is given specific instructions, Reverend Jerry Johnson, to make a trip to the potter's house. It would be at the potter's house that the Lord would speak to him and give him a message, Mother Thomas, which would come through loud and clear. What the prophet would witness at the potter's house would give him insight on how God works with his own people. Jeremiah would come to know that the potter himself is a representation of God. He would also learn that God's people are the clay. Somebody shout, we are the clay. The clay belongs to the potter. It is his to do with it what he pleases. Jeremiah on this trip to the potter's house would learn some valuable lessons. He would learn about the potter's purpose. He would learn about the potter's problem. He would learn about the potter's persistency. And he would also learn about the potter's patience. How many of you know God is a patient God? I said, how many of you know he's a patient God? You know he's patient because he puts up with your mess. Can I get one witness up in here? You know he's patient because you deserve to be dead and already sleeping in your grave. But God, in his patience, he's a loving God. He's a God of tender mercy. He's a God of another chance. Can I get a witness here? What the prophet would witness at the potter's house would give him insight on how God works with his own people. Jeremiah would come to know that the potter himself is a representation of God. He would also learn that God's people are the clay. The clay belongs to the potter. It is his to do with it what he pleases. Jeremiah on this trip to the potter's house would learn some valuable lessons. And I want to pause right here for just a moment. Say to somebody present today, I don't know how you viewed yourself upon entering the sanctuary or the house of worship this morning, but it is my strong conviction that this text is tailored to teach us that we are God's masterpiece. I don't care what anyone else has told you about yourself. I don't know what you're experiencing right now and how it's making you feel. You might be that person who suffers from a low self-esteem. You might be that person with a poor self-image, or you might even be feeling worthless and have a sense of shame. I want you to know right now that the enemy, somebody shout the enemy has been hiding a great secret from you. And he does not want you to know that you are God's masterpiece. Go on and touch your neighbor and tell him, I am God's masterpiece.